Hello, my name is Alexander Morari. I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. This is our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-Series A stage. And today our guest is Märt-Erik Martens, the co-founder of Gelatex. Gelatex is an Estonian startup that is developing scalable, cost-effective nanofiber materials for cultured meat, for wound care, bio-based filtration, and many more other use cases. Tere hommikust, Märt-Erik.
Tere hommikust.
Tere. As the warm up kind of topic here. So you focus in the in your business model or in the rationale for your business. You focus, among other things, on the way humanity has been growing livestock, right? And just to say, there was no innovation in the way we do this. We have been doing this for like 10,000 years or so. What's the problem for those who are not in the know? Why is this a challenge, and why do you want to change this situation?
Sure. So like you mentioned, there hasn't been a significant innovation how we grow the meat after we started herding. After that, there has been a lot of optimization on farming, on how closely together we can pack the animals, but that's it. Now with the technology and everything ready, we are able to start producing a meat that was a responsibility of animals before, but now we can do it on our own without the need of an animals. So technology is there, now it needs to be just scaled up.
Okay, so good for starters. And just to make it maybe a little bit more dramatic, livestock breeding, right, takes around 30% of Earth's land, directly or indirectly. I understand this is the idea. Also around 30% of fresh water, right? 15% of greenhouse gas emissions for natural reasons of any organisms, and about 70% of antibiotics used also for animals. With this in mind, let's jump into the first round of our podcast, which has a focus on solution or the product itself. Okay, so let's deal with this in a little bit different way. We'll have a quick Q&A. First, how would you define your client groups? Who are your potential clients?
Cultured meat companies. If we talk about cultured meat, let's I think stay during this podcast in the cultured meat topic.
Okay,
sounds
yes,
good.
Will be easy. So, and when you say cultured meat companies, can you define that? It's not obvious for everyone.
Sure. So this is a whole industry. It's a very growing industry. There are new cultured meat companies who are producing the end product emerging in a monthly basis. And our goal is to help the whole industry to solve the scaffolding problem. And I want to really quickly give an explanation what is scaffold. So scaffold is there to provide a structure for a meat on very high level. This is what it does.
So in a non-meat related situation, scaffolding is the kind of exoskeleton, let's say, for buildings that you are using for renovation, refurbishments, and all this stuff, right? And
yeah, it's the same word.
Yeah.
The same word is used in tissue engineering. Yeah, we create this structure. It's weird actually that it's the same word used in tissue engineering as well as in construction. But basically, what it does in tissue engineering, when we talk about the cell-related application, is that it mimics the structure of extracellular matrix, which is a stuff that holds the cells together to make up a tissue. Every tissue, even our brain tissue, skin tissue, muscle tissue consists of cells and extracellular matrix. Now, in tissue engineering, and cultured meat is industrial tissue engineering, we need to mimic that structure. And currently, there are no good ways how to do that on a scalable manner. And this is exactly what we are solving.
Interesting. So just to understand exactly the process that you are part of is, so cell cultured meat is made of, let's say, scaffolding, and you provide the scaffolding. And these cells, right, then are filled with actual meat tasting stuff, which is artificial meat, right?
No, the cells are the ones that provide all the nutritional value, the nutritional value, the taste, and everything, the mouthfeel like this. Not even the mouthfeel comes from scaffold. So taste, nutritional value from the cells. Now, if you combine it with the scaffold to make up a artificial tissue in lab, you have also the nutritional profile from the scaffold and the cells. You have the mouthfeel. You have the look of a steak. So that's why cultured meat is such an amazing concept, or it was 100 years ago. Now it's a reality. That it's a holy grail of meat alternatives. You can really mimic every aspect of an animal-based meat with a cultured meat product.
A holy steak of 21st century. So, and just to make sure, the scaffolding is filled with real, like, meat cells?
Yes, exactly. So how the process works is that you have your cells, you extract them from an animal, so a small biopsy of, let's say, less than 1 gram. Then you multiply these cells to a few tons. Some companies have went even the next stage. They have immortalized the cells. Basically, they're keeping the cells in a condition where they can multiply indefinitely. These are called induced pluripotent stem cells, which have this ability to differentiate into muscle tissue, and also they can replicate indefinitely. So you have your cells, you need to expand them. This is the first step every time with every cell line or species you're using. You need to expand the cells to get, let's say, a few tons of cells. Initially, a few kilograms on a small scale. And then when you have your mass of cells and you have few options what you can do. You can mix it with some plant-based structuring additives and obtain something like a chicken nugget. But this is not a good strategy, because we have really good meat alternatives from vegetable sources already. Like Impossible Foods, Beyond Meat, I think their products are already great. What they're missing is a nutritional profile, the mouthfeel, the structure of a steak. And this is where, when you have your cells, you rather put them onto the scaffold, and then the scaffold and the cells form a homogeneous mixture, like a soup, but this is structured. This is like a bulk, and this is tissue, actually. This is muscle tissue. And you can do the same thing with adipose tissue to obtain a fat tissue, a fat, like a lard kind of structure. You can do it with our scaffolds as well.
Oh, okay.
So so when you have your cells, you take our scaffold, you put them together, you have your tissue, muscle tissue, which is a meat.
All right. So the final product is same as traditional.
Yes.
Just more, should I say, like eco-friendly, animal-friendly.
Exactly. Exactly. The production.
Sir, Märt-Erik, can I ask one question? So, does that mean we could still keep breeding new or evolving new breeds of animals and focus on really healthy animals? Because then it makes no sense to pump, pigs and cows and so on, pump with hormones,
growth factors.
You know what I mean? Like growth hormones and all the other like toxins or poisonous or not very healthy substances for the end users, the humans. Would that be one of the outcomes of using those scaffolds? Wow.
Exactly. This is what you can achieve is basically a concept where you extract the cells from an animal. An animal goes, there is a deer, right, in a forest. You will capture him. You will take a biopsy from him, and
which is currently costing like a fortune, right?
Yeah. So you take a biopsy from him. The deer will move forward, will live his life like he should be, and then, but we can still get the meat from this deer in in tons, and we can manufacture it on a more sustainable manner, because the water use that goes into growing one animal. Now we're not talking about deers, but rather a conventional agriculture such as such as pigs and cows and chickens, especially. It's not the sustainable way how to grow meat.
Oh yeah, okay. A tricky question: can you use the same scaffold for fish?
There is a slight difference with the muscle tissue. Is different with the fish and let's say mammals. But our materials could be used for different species.
Have you tried a steak based on your scaffolding and biopsy generated cell and this like tissue and muscle?
Not yet.
Ah, why?
But I
and
have
why?
seen. Why? Because the whole industry is still not in a place where we could provide a suitable
saturating lunch,
versions. Yeah, I would say that the industry is still in its infancy. I mean, we need to consider that there is a lot of R&D still that needs to be placed. There are a lot of scale up that needs to be placed. There are tastings that happen within cultured meat companies, but it's really, small sector and
in nanograms, right?
Not in nanograms. No, in real, steaks like 200 grams is not a problem for it to grow, even kilograms. There is a cultured meat company in Singapore who is selling that. Just I haven't personally tasted that.
Okay, so coming back, your client groups are very well defined. These are cultured meat companies, and you are supplying them with the scaffolding or with the container for the meat that they are growing by themselves in their cell manufacturing kind of environment. Okay.
Imagine we are a supplier for these companies and delivering something that wasn't on the market before. Now we can produce these materials on a scalable manner with a cost-effective manner and deliver the quantities that they need.
Okay. Would you say you are now monopolist in your niche?
We are the best at what we do. What we do is deliver high-performing materials on a cost-effective manner. The innovation relies in a novel way how to produce these nanofibrous materials, these scaffolding materials, which we have patented and IP around, a lot of R&D, and we kind of we're in a very good shape at what we do.
Märt-Erik, tell me, is this more of a chemical process-based technology or physical?
No, it's physical. It's purely physical. Okay. So we start with already edible food grade ingredients, mainly plant-based proteins that we convert into the structures that the cells like.
Or stick to properly, right?
Yeah, exactly. All these things are important. They need to stick to that. They need to in some way migrate into the material because it's a 3D structure. So there are cells inside the material. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Absorb into this scaffolding that you have. Okay.
Yeah, they migrate because they have a certain size, like 20, 30 micrometers. So the pore size needs to be right. There is nutrients and residues when the cells are growing that they need or don't need, that need to flow through the material. So there are a lot of different aspects to consider. That's why we don't have this material. That's why they're not very conventional materials. They're very, very complex materials. So it's a lot of aspects to consider, but yeah.
When do you expect your patent ready?
We have, ready. It's a good question. It can take.
But you applied already,
usually.
Right?
Yeah, we have applied for 1.5 years ago. Actually, we're an IP heavy company, so we have actually two patents we have filed. We will file around 3 to 5 more within this year, and hopefully multiple more in the next years to come.
Märt-Erik, does it mean that while you're waiting for patents to be up and running and on your desk, so to say, you have not been commercializing or marketing? I mean, selling?
We have.
Oh, you
Of
have,
course,
okay.
we have. We do B2B sales. That means that most of our deals are done under NDA, so that's why they are not publicly disclosed. There is not confidential information that can get into wrong hands. In the cultured meat space, the building trust, building partnerships is the most crucial way how to do business, because one of our main goals is to solve the scaffolding problem for the whole industry. And this involves of being really transparent, being very open, being very collaborative, being a good partner. And this is what we're aiming to do. And this can be achieved with multiple ways. And what I mean by that is under different versions, how we work together with cultured meat companies.
Yeah, this is clear. But anyways, can you share at least, are you earning now? Do you have ongoing projects, or this is one-off kind of payments, or is it a licensing model? How many clients you have right now, or companies?
I can say, yeah, I can say that we're piloting with 40% of the cultured meat companies in the world. So having a good traction, can't really go into specifics of finances, but I can say that yes, we do generate some revenue.
So just to make sure, you say you are now cooperating with around 40% of global cultured meat market players.
Yeah.
And it's just the beginning, I understand. What's the barrier to expand that? Or would you say this is enough for you and this keeps you busy, you are happy to have pilots with this and then escalate?
We are, yeah, of course. I mean, we would like to help everybody, but there are different circumstances which maybe doesn't, which would maybe prohibit us from expanding us further. Mainly, maybe the focus is not yet with the scaffolding. There are a lot of challenges. I have said that in the cultured meat space in general, like a growth media is also really expensive. That needs to be, the cost needs to be reduced there. So there might be the focus things that why we are not, let's say, at 50, 60, 70% at the moment, or other reasons. Our door is always open. So if there is a scaffolding needs in the cultured meat field, we always help.
Yeah, this is my way of actually asking whether there's a barrier right now, further expansion because of the competition, because of difficulty to crack this market, because they are very close, hermetic kind of environments and so on. But mostly, is it about competition or not necessarily?
There is some competition, of course, but the competition right now is really on a technological or on a fundamental level, not on a like company level. Like rather, it's like which technologies will survive, which technologies are the most scalable, and these are all right now being considered at the moment. And right now, based on the data and results we have and what we have demonstrated, what also actually literature overview kind of gives you, is that if you want to have a scalable scaffolding material for tissue engineering, and again, cultured meat is tissue engineering, the nanofibers are the way to go. And this is where what we do the best at the moment, what we do on a way what is the most scalable. So in that sense, I think we're in a quite good position to tackle this market.
So it's a very scientific kind of product, or science driven, right? Scientifically driven and so on. Clear. What about the technical side? How equipment heavy is it? Right now, you're producing your scaffolds for pilots and so on. So there is a specific what's the technical specification, right? I understand. And you were manufacturing scaffold to this specification. Do you have like a big manufacturing facility, or for now you have a smaller kind of MVP level manufacturing?
I would say that our current capacity, yeah, we do produce our materials. So we do develop the materials and produce the same materials. In the future, we also are open to licensing model. But right now, our current capacity is on the level to produce enough scaffold to produce 300 tons of meat annually. So I would say that with the level of production scale, we are quite okay, I would say. So, and we are scaling up with this cultured meat industry. As they scale up, we do scale up as well. And that's why at some point when the growth of the cultured meat industry will be really rapid, yeah, we are open to licensing model.
Yeah, let's expand on this one. So you just said what, that your capacity right now is 300 kilograms of meat?
Enough scaffold to produce 300 tons of meat.
Sorry, tons.
Annually.
Wow, okay. Oh, okay.
Enough scaffold to produce 300 tons of meat, yeah.
Yes, okay. With the current capacity, right, you say?
Yeah. So we do scale up our equipment as well. You asked about how capex intensive our venture is. It's not because when we developed our novel nanofiber production technology, the most important thing we kept in mind is that everything needs to be scalable. The equipment, everything. And it has worked out pretty well so far. We have scaled up from lab scale to current stage around 100 times already. So I would say we are on a semi-industrial scale with our production capacity. And from now on, it's about basically multiplying the machines that are producing these materials in order to scale up. And this is engineering challenge, not a fundamental challenge anymore.
Yes, great. So to make it scalable, I understand you either created your own machine from the very beginning, or you adapted or adjusted the equipment that you can find on the market. Which was your case?
No, we designed and built everything in-house from zero. So because the technology is really unique, there is even nothing halfway there which we could repurpose to start producing our materials.
So the machine's equipment itself is designed by you. You're not only like, you could say what, deep tech or like a science-driven company, but also hardware-driven, right? So
we like to think that we are a technology company. Yeah.
At one of the dimensions, yes, but interesting discovery for me as well that you're, among other things, also kind of a hardware. There is an overlap with hardware, right? Because I understand one of the patent applications is also covering the equipment itself, right? Somehow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool. You know what? So we focus on meat culture. Sorry, cultured meat. You know, you see, I'm just becoming becoming an expert in this topic. Cultured meat manufacturing, clear. But give me a little bit more details about other use cases. You mentioned on your website a couple that I was interested specifically, like contract development. Who might be the client for contract development other than meat related?
Sure. So when we pivoted away the company from our original focus, which was leather-like textile manufacturing, we pivoted towards offering our nanofibers, our scaffolds for other industries. Then we mapped all the industries where nanofibers are used, could be used. And in most cases, because nanofibers today are really expensive, before Gelatex were really expensive, in most cases, they are not used in that specific industry. For example, filtration is a great example. There are the filtration market, especially with the COVID, grew tremendously. And how many nanofibrous filtration masks do we see? Really, the market share is very small because of the high cost. One mask can cost like 15 euros, and it's not, price competitive. So, but there is a huge innovation that can be done with nanofibers and filtration. For example, you can make 99% efficient filtration materials, which you can't do with conventional melt-blown materials that are used today. You can also incorporate different active ingredients that destroy viruses and while you breathe through them. And these products are actually on the market, but they are very expensive at the moment. So, and from all these industries which we mapped, there were more than 20 or use cases. We chose specifically cultured meat because there we see the biggest potential, the biggest needs, and also the mission-wise, it aligned really well with the mission of the founders. Yeah, if we talk about other industries which we plan to tackle later in few years, some use cases are which are really similar to cultured meat are wound care, for example. Mm-hmm. So imagine a severely wounded burn victim who has a deep burn wound that the skin is completely destroyed. So right now with conventional means, you can have the wound treated with conventional ways. So there is a huge scarring that is happening. There is also skin replacements that are used, so or even skin transplants that are used. Yeah. But with nanofibers, what you can do is have the same scaffold, well, nanofibrous scaffold, just made out of different materials, placed on this wound, and the cells, the skin cells, grow into the material, reforming a skin tissue. So you can have a wound healing without the scar tissue. This is what has been demonstrated already with nanofibers, but no products have been commercialized because of the high cost. And this is, again, something we can reduce. Really similar effect takes place in skin healing and also in when we grow meat. The cells are growing into the material, forming a tissue, right? So similar effects can be used in other industries as well.
Märt-Erik, do you mean to say that this nanofiber covering the wound surface stays there forever?
No, it's
replaced by the skin.
It absorbs. It absorbs while the wound is healing. So this can be, again, depending on the raw materials. For wound care, we are using different materials that have really controllable degradation times. So if the wound healing time is, let's say, 4 weeks or 2 months, we can tune the degradation time, the resorption time of the material accordingly. So this is something we have few pilots going on as well. Yeah, we're seeing a really, really good potential.
Yeah, amazing. Ironically, you said it's a very similar process to cultured meat production. Interesting.
It is really similar, just the quality standards are different. We are not producing food, but we are putting basically a material inside a human body. So we talk about biomaterials then. Yeah.
A little bit more hassle with the approvals and so on.
Definitely. Sales cycles much longer. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, interesting. Märt-Erik, let's move on. Round 2 competitors, we kind of covered already. You say you're pretty unique in your space, at least judging by the manufacturing methods and also scalability and also affordability, right?
Exactly.
Let's move on to round 3, quick Q&A. And most important here for me is to check or to ask you to share your productivity hacks. As a co-founder of a quickly growing company, definitely you are a pretty busy man. How do you deal with your daily calendar items effectively?
Yeah. Like my philosophy is actually related to keeping everything in balance. So that's why in some cases I'm able to pull like really long work, like weeks, let's say 60, 80 hours if needed. But then I really need to rest for some time. And this is something that I have just found a suitable model for myself that where everything is in balance: the work, the private life, the resting time, the sleeping time. So it's everything needs to be in balance, and this is the most sustainable way how to grow a business, how to build a business.
Mm-hmm. Do you forecast the blocks for high intensive work and intensive rest, or you react to your state of mind and body? At some point you say, I feel overworked. So you block yourself from work and then you go rest, or how does it work?
Yeah, I do plan it to some extent, not like really carefully, I would say, like day by day, but yeah, weekly basis I do that. Yeah.
Okay. Märt-Erik, round number 4, company itself. So founded on my birth date, by the way, 2016, not the year, the birth date only, 2016, November 3rd. And founders are Märt-Erik Martens and Marianne Meigo Fonseca, right? You're 2 co-founders. How many people are you in the team right now?
Now we have full-time 12 people, and extended team can reach over 20. So yeah, like I mentioned, the Gelatex was founded with initially with a different focus to develop and produce a leather-like textile. And because of our own need, we developed a scalable nanofiber production, which we ultimately realized could impact so many other industries, and most importantly, cultured meat space. So in the cultured meat field, we have been around 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, in the last 2 years, okay.
Yeah.
As a side note, side question, kind of, how did Marianne survive the switch from her areas of expertise? I understand she comes from fashion industry and so on, into new areas.
Yeah, very well, because ultimately our missions are really, our personal missions, what we want to achieve with Gelatex are really similar. And this is to do not innovating a specific industry, but creating a better, more sustainable future for everybody. And it came down to the decision of should we, when we pivoted, it came down to the point where we decided either to move forward with the textile product with different technology. I'm not going into the specifics why that was the reason, or to take this amazing technology that we had developed and take this forward. And we, it was a uniform decision that we should focus on nanofibers and scaffolds.
Yeah, interesting. I think we should get out in touch with you guys and maybe write a short piece for ITKeyMedia website about your pivoting moment and how the decision-making process was going on, and what were your pain points, or I would say issues or challenges during this. Was there any pressure from your investors, or this was your decision entirely, and so on and so on? That's an interesting pivot, let's say, to this conversation as well. With this, Märt-Erik, let's move on to final round for today. Round 5, Formula F3, funding for the future. Before future, let's just make a quick sum up. Seed round was closed November 25, last year, 2021, I understand. Total funding is around $1.2 million, with investor lineup including Change Ventures, Crosslight, partners, Mass Challenge from Switzerland, Techstars, of course, as well. What's your plan for the next round, if there is any right now?
Sure. Yeah, there is. I am about to start fundraising again. So if there is an interest towards what we do, then I suggest to connect with us and, let's talk. The next round will be bigger, one order of magnitude bigger. I can say that much. Exact numbers are not set in stone, but we're targeting more than 10 million euros. And to basically bring these materials onto the hands of cultured meat companies and also to integrate them into their production process on the industrial scale. So basically scaling up everything we are doing in terms of quality, production capacity, everything.
Okay, so there is already not only MVP, but also a successful pilots, I understand. And now it's the problem of scalability, right?
It's not a problem. It's
Sorry, when I say a problem, I mean mathematically, meaning now the challenge is in scalability rather than proving the way, the methodology, the technology, and so on and so on. Okay.
Yeah, we have validated the product, we have validated the business model, we have successful pilots, and now we're basically ready to start running even faster.
Märt-Erik, what can I say? Sounds like an exciting idea. One other unicorn candidate from the Baltic countries and from Estonia. I didn't even have the slightest doubt about that. My only wish is right now to try a steak contained on your scaffolding as soon as possible. Keep me posted. We'll be sure to write about this interesting tasting session on our website as well. Good luck with the financing round as well. And by the way, who is your ideal investor or VC, if this is the way you go through right now? What I mean, global, very industry related, or you would take money from everyone?
I would say global and very aligned with our mission.
So not necessarily biotech or such.
What we have essentially created is a platform technology impacting so many different industries. And ultimately the goal of Gelatex is to become a leading materials technology company, supplying materials for a variety of different industries based on our novel spinning method. Because what we are doing, we're lowering the cost of nanofibers. And we want that our investors, future investors, would share that same mission as they join us.
There, you said it. Investors interested in cascading into more and more verticals with Gelatex are welcome to get in touch with them directly or through ITKeyMedia. Thank you very much. That was a great conversation. Wish you good luck. All the best.
Yes, thank you.